Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming to my presentation today. I'm going to present what I found in the literature first, and I'll weave with my experience, and then after that you guys can have questions. You don't have to take really notes. I got handout for you guys with the references, so after the presentation I'll give it to you. If you want to challenge anything you don't believe, you can look in the references. I don't make up anything. Okay? Ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's start. Thank you for coming to my presentation on academic skills for successful dissertation completions. I think that all of you are doctoral students, or maybe some of you guys are, doctoral candidates who are in the process of completing your dissertation. Let me tell you one thing. The doctoral dissertation is not for everyone, for sure. In the United States, only 28% of the population got a bachelor degree, and only 2% of those people complete a doctorate. And less than 10% of the doctoral dissertations are turned into publishable articles. You know what? Study shows that people with PhDs are smarter than law students and medical students. And do you think that people with PhD are smarter than yourself? I doubt it, right? So if people with PhD are not that smarter than yourself, or in other words, the capability of completing a doctoral dissertation doesn't strictly hinge on intelligence. So if you have a look at your friends or your colleagues or people with PhD, look at their dissertations. And then look at your friend, people who have been studying with you, working with you. Look at their dissertation. They say, oh yeah, these people work with me and they can finish it. So can I, right? To be sure. So I would like to ask you, so what are the things? What are things that make a person be able to complete a doctoral dissertation? And another question is, I don't know if you know that the number of people who were admitted to doctorate programs and the ratio between people being admitted to doctoral program and those really awarded the doctorate. You may be shocking when I tell you that study shows that in psychology and education, 30 to 50% of students are not able to complete their doctorates. In other words, roughly 50% of the students remain ABD indefinitely, ABD all but dissertation. That is scary, but I'm sure none of you would be in that group. The overarching objective of this presentation is to help you to get out of graduate school with a dissertation with your name on it. Alright, I must clearly point out at the beginning of this presentation that there is no shortcut or formula to write a dissertation, because each dissertation is different. Each is different, as we are all different. We are all unique. So there is approaches to conduct research vary from field to field. Therefore, there is no single approach for a dissertation. However, there are tips and strategies that you can use to successfully complete your dissertation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to communicate the message, the wisdoms of the expert who has been supervising doctoral students for years. Their experience, their insights, their advice are worth knowing. And what I'm trying to also do is to use my experience and my perspective to make my point. This presentation will walk you through the steps of planning, crafting, and writing your dissertation. The main purpose of this presentation is threefold. First, is trying to help you to overcome your procrastination. It helps you to motivate yourself, and it helps you to figure out a feasible plan to successfully complete your dissertation. So I hope by the end of this presentation, you'll be certain that you can finish your dissertation in a timely and academically rigorous manner. Okay, so what is the dissertation, by the way? It is just an in-depth and rigorous investigation of a specific problem that provides novel knowledge and perspectives. Completing a doctoral dissertation will transform you from being a consumer of research to being a producer of research for the very first time in your life. The huge difference between completing a dissertation and completing your coursework and your comprehensive exam. Can you see the difference? What is the difference? Can anyone tell me the difference? In other words, if you can complete your coursework and comprehensive exam, what makes it hard for you to complete your dissertation?
There's no deadline, really. Self-motivation.
Excellent. Maybe, yes. The point is, during your academic years up to your dissertation period, people set out standard, deadline. People create an agenda for you to follow. So what you have to do is just to follow the steps. The challenge is when you enter your dissertation period, you are on your own. You are expected to find a research question, regenerate your research topic and questions, and then design your study, conduct it, and write it up technically on your own. Sure, your dissertation chair and committee members are going to help you. However, you are the person who is responsible for your work. So that's the reason why many students are not able to complete it. Now, chances are you have completed your coursework and your comprehensive exams, and you may be wondering if you can finish your dissertation. That's not the question to ask. What is the right question to ask? How do I begin my dissertation? That's the question. So, when you enter this, the earlier you start your dissertation, the better. So, in addition to the professional knowledge you accumulate and the research expertise you get throughout the coursework, you also need to have some academic skills, some passions, dedication, commitment, and planning, as well as time management skills that are important, that are necessary for you to complete your dissertation. So, the dissertation is actually a very abstract and distant goal. So it is very hard when you come up with your dissertation period and say, okay, that's your time, come and write your dissertation. You are like baffled. You don't know where to begin because it's a huge task and distance. What can you do is to break it up into smaller objectives and goals. So if you look at these, you can technically have a kind of framework already. So, you can informally begin your dissertation anytime when you have a potential dissertation topic. You do not have to wait until you finish all your graduate courses. At the outset of the dissertation process, the whole dissertation seems to be very overwhelming to you. But if you break it up into parts, you can see it is doable. It is said that it is hard by the yard, but by the inch, it's a cinch. It's a cinch. It's an easy task. The same for the dissertation. You look at the dissertation, it's overwhelming. Break it up into doable steps. You see it's doable. So you have to create an outline for your action plans. Set up deadline for each part of your dissertation and stick with it. Stick with the deadline to make sure that you're on track, to make sure that you're making progress. You can generally, to me, divide the dissertation period process into 3 macro processes. The first one is to refine a research topic, to formulate research questions, to choose the research method, and to prepare for the proposal and to defend for your proposal. The second is to collect, analyze, present data, and complete your first dissertation draft. The third macro step is to submit your dissertation, your final dissertation, to your chairperson and your committee members, and then get feedback from them, revise based on what they say. And then you're ready for the final defense. And then after the final defense, you have to revise it again, and then when you get accepted by your chairperson, you can hand it into the library. So I say you need to plan, you need to divide your dissertation into achievable steps. But why do you need to do it? Why is it important to plan? It is important to plan because it will help you to thoroughly and systematically, methodologically prepare for it. And if you think about it, any single thing prior to executing a piece of work, you need a lot of preparation. The more preparation, the better. If you look at one of the quotes from a famous president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, he said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree. I will spend the first hour sharpening the axe." Have you sharpening your axe prior to starting your dissertation process? You have to. So, one easy thing for you to prepare for your dissertation process is to get the dissertation handbook from your program. Have a look at it, read it, and see what they wanted in it. You have the idea first. Okay, one of the first steps in the dissertation process is to select and develop a dissertation topic. Where to look for the dissertation topic? If you don't have a burning dissertation topic already, where do you think you can have a look at? Google? Okay. Well, a very easy way is to look at the notes, the course material you have done, organize them. Make them organized. Have a look at it. Those can be potential topic for your dissertation. And then you have a look at some search engines. For example, one way is ProQuest. Have you ever used ProQuest, right? From ProQuest, you can get access to dissertations of people who have conducted studies similar to your own. Look at research article in your field, in your area of interest, and in books too. Okay, by the way, when you look at someone's dissertation, you want to read the dissertation to get an idea for your dissertation topic. Where do you look? Where is the best part? Discussion? Where?
Research question.
Research question? You are not going to reinvent the wheel. You're not supposed to research the same research question. You look at the dissertation. Go to the section labeled recommendation for further research. Recommendation for further research. That's a gold mine for you. Well, sometimes people do the easy thing and recommend you to do the hard part while you don't have to. But that's somewhere you can start to look for, dissertation topics. And once you have decided on a topic, start to develop your reference list. Reference list, obtain the articles, the dissertation or books on the topic you want to investigate. One of the key points in selecting a dissertation topic is do not attempt to revolutionize thinking in your field. Do not try to find the truth, or do not try to save the world with your dissertation. A good dissertation topic is professionally and personally compelling one. One that you have substantial interest, curiosity, and passion about, so that it can keep your interest for the long way. A good dissertation topic is one that is manageable and doable. A great dissertation topic that you're not able to carry out is not great anymore. For example, when you choose a dissertation topic, for example, you have to make sure that you are capable of carrying out a task of completing that research. You have to absolutely have the necessary skill to complete it. Maybe you say, okay, I'm going to conduct a quantitative study, and I'm okay. I have found a statistical gurus, one of the best statisticians who have agreed to help me. Yes, that's okay. However, you have to finish your dissertation regardless of what happened. And if you have to rely on someone, you cannot strictly control the time of your completion. You have to rely on them. Your dissertation is not their top priority. On the other hand, if you want to do, a qualitative study, make sure you can handle the data. Make sure you can make sense of the data. Okay. What people often say, a dissertation topic has to be original. Yes, it is original, but the degree of original is hard to define, because how original is original? Like someone has done it, but you are going to do it in a different way. So that's original in a sense, right? Okay, one more thing that you may have to think about is to balance the value of the dissertation and the feasibility of completing your dissertation. You may have the best idea, valuable dissertation. However, if you conduct that study, it's going to take you a very long time. So it may not be very feasible within the time frame that you may have to take into consideration too. If you want to conduct a study, make sure you have access to the context you want to study. Because if you don't think it through when you really get into the collecting data period, you have difficulty that maybe you have to change the topic. And most importantly, you have to have a topic that gets the approval and the support of your dissertation chair and committee. As soon as you have had a dissertation topic, save time to work on your dissertation on a daily basis. One author I've read suggested that if you spend 15 minutes a day to work on your dissertation, you can significantly improve the chance of completing your dissertation. Yes, that's perfectly possible. But my concern is, how long it's going to take you to complete a dissertation? Well, two authors, Davis and Parker, noted that a standard dissertation is 225 pages, and it takes approximately 15 months of work to complete, with an average of 175 hours a month. So, month 15 multiplied 175 is 2,625 hours. So, therefore, the standard time needed to complete a dissertation is roughly 2,625 hours. However, if you count on the hours of working alone, it doesn't make sense because the productivity of your hours of working makes more sense. Because you may tell me, okay, I worked 10 hours on my dissertation today. Say, how much have you written? Not much. So you shouldn't count that 10 hours. Well, I'm sorry, I don't have that chart, but like in here, I show you the chapter already. One way that you can organize that setup, a roadmap or a plan, a feasible plan for your dissertation is, for example, chapter 1, 2, 3, or 4. You divide them into steps, and then you give them completion time, anticipated and actual completion time. So, for example, you anticipate to finish these steps, for example, in 2 months. But it turned out to be like 4 months. So that's the actual time. You need to keep track of it. If you've been slow, so tell yourself, okay, gotta go, faster. That's one way to monitor your progress. Okay, once you have created an agenda or schedule for your dissertation, strictly follow it. To finish your dissertation in a timely manner, you have to set up your own deadline and manage to meet your deadline. Be realistic. Do not set the deadline that you won't be able to meet. Set goal for yourself that you are able to meet. But this is what one of the author I have read have to say when you miss a deadline. What if you miss a deadline? Follow the rule for what you have to do. If you fall off a horse, get right back on. Make a new and easy, realistic deadline. Get back to work. Don't waste time crying over lost opportunities. Take advantage of new ones. So you can successfully complete your dissertation in a timely manner, and sometimes it is faster than you expected if you keep track of your progress and you strictly follow your own agenda. Maybe you may ask me, why finishing my dissertation early? The dissertation is not a race. I don't have to compete with anyone else. Yes, but my concern is, why not try to finish your dissertation as soon as you possibly can? Why? Because time is in effect money. And you don't have to think about increasing tuition, cost of living, student loans accumulates in interest. Those things, merit consideration. Okay. Now, when you have a dissertation topic, what you need to do next is to conduct a literature review. Well, actually, a professor do not see eye to eye on the perspective of whether a literature review should be comprehensive and extensive or not. Because some people would say, well, you just need, to know the literature enough to situate your study. Yes. Some authors actually argue that a thorough and complicated literature review is both a foundation and inspiration for substantial and useful research. Personally, I think the literature review is extremely important on the following grounds. First, you need to know the literature extremely well to know that what areas has been researched extensively. If it has been extensively researched, do you think you can? I don't think there is much chance. And you need to know there is a gap and areas that need further understanding in investigation. That's the area you need to look at. The second thing is, the more you read about the articles and literature in your area of interest, the more you know about the methodology that are often used. That help you in your research design. You don't fall into a category when you investigate a topic using a methodology that has never been used before. If you have rationale, real support for that, fine. But you need to know the methodology used to investigate that research. And finally, a well-documented and well-written literature review will extensively and tremendously help you with your interpreting your data later. When in your discussion section, wow, first of all, you have to read about the literature. You have to read a lot. So why don't you document it and then show the people the depth and breadth of your understanding in the area of your interest? Because you will have to draw on that literature to interpret, to discuss your results. Conducting a literature review may not be as easy as you think it is. Make sure you know how to fully make use of the library system in your university. For example, if you don't ask the librarian to help you locating the sources, I think you make use of Link Plus and Interlibrary Link a lot. And if you're in education, ERIC is a great source for education materials. Also, you need to think about the relevance and the credibility of the sources you get access to. Because you just cannot cite any source you get to. I believe you know that. So you need to organize the material you get. Very organized. The more organized you are, the better it is for you later down the road when you have to make use of your literature. Because it saves you a lot of time, believe me. One more thing is whenever you keep your record of the literature, of the article, of dissertation thing, make sure, and even when you type your dissertation, make sure you have a copy in electronic version, paper version, as many versions as possible. You will never be able to predict what happened. One day you type everything in your computer and one day it is stolen, you are done. Believe me. You save in your paper file. If your house caught a fire, you're done too. So, think about it. It is helpful and it's not going to cost you much. Okay. As soon as you get all the literature you need, you don't have to, start reading immediately everything, but you should set up a timeline table when you finish what. Set up table. Okay, these I have to finish this. So you follow that. Gradually you finish it. Make sure when you finish reading an article or a book, make sure that you take notes, right? The summary of it. Keep track of the references carefully, very carefully. Make sure some authors sometimes have different publication in the same years. Sometimes you cite different author and then it turned out you don't know because they have 4 articles in the same year. That's my problem. 4 articles in the same year, so I don't know which is which because when I look on when I work on the references, I don't know which is which. So I have to go down again, check all the 4 sources, read again, and okay, this one. So you put A, B, C, D if you know the same publication to make sure you don't mess it up. Okay, so when you finish reading your material, print it out. If you type on a computer, like in my case, I took notes. So my note is like this. So I took notes and then I will have to go over all my notes, read over again, use highlighters with different colors to color code. For example, red is for the importance of the topic. For example, green is for the methodology used. Yellow is for the result used. So all of that way, you do it that way. You color code, you systematic color code everything, and after that, you sit down, think about it. Okay, this is what I've found. This is what I've read. How am I going to write? How am I going to organize it? Think about it. Put it down and think. When you have a roadmap of what you're going to write, that's an outline. Sit down. Write the table of content for your literature review. Write the outline. What are you going to write? That will keep you on track. And then you sit down, look at these. Okay, now I'm going to write the importance of my topic. Color red. Okay, red. Sit down. Look at red. Which one to go first? Type it. When you finish typing that section, use a pencil. Cross it. like me did in here. Cross it to make sure you've typed it down already. So that way you can keep track of your writing. Do not just simply summarize it. You have to first summarize and then integrate it, and then you have to analyze it, see which one, and then you have to criticize it. It means your literature review is the foundation for your study. You have to organize it in a way that makes your research topic valuable and worth doing. And it has to be organized in a way that you are arguing for a certain point. If you are trying to find in your study, for example, you don't really need to argue for anything, but you can criticize it based on the study and the literature you found. Now, when you have got your literature review, the dissertation topic, one more important thing is to form your dissertation committee, choosing your chairperson and committee members. These people will ultimately decide whether you can be a doctor or not. So they are very important. Think hard about it. Very, very important. Choosing the doctoral chairperson could be one of the most important decisions you have to make in your dissertation process. Because the chairperson can be a mentor. That person can be an expert in your area of research. That person can be an editor for your dissertation, and that person can be even a career counselor after you finish your study. Think about it. It is a fact that there are so many possible topics for the dissertation, but your pool of people, your choice of the chairperson and the committee members is limited. In other words, there are a limited pool of potential advisors from which you can select. Think hard before making those decisions. So these are one of the things that you may want to take into consideration. Is that person going to be available during my period of conducting my dissertation? Is that person planning on a sabbatical? Is that person in good health? Is that person near retirement? Or is the person consistent? That's very important to me. One of the crucial points is that person have to be consistent. You don't want to go and talk to the person and the person say, oh yeah, you need to revise like this. You go back and revise, and the next time you come back and the person say, oh no, they don't say they'll change their mind, but they're going to do it the other way. No, you don't want to do it, right? You want you want someone who make a decision and stick with it. That saves you a lot of time. Is that person knowledgeable about research methodology? Is that person area of interest the same as your topic of investigation? How can you do that? How can you find out if that person interests match with your dissertation topic? How?
We have to get their dissertation.
Excellent, yes, that's the easiest. Look at that dissertation. Look at the material in the course they give to you. What else? Look at the dissertation that person chaired. How long are those dissertations? How many pages are they? How long do they take to complete that dissertation? 3 years, 2 years, or 1 year? That's important. And the topic of the dissertation is also important, and the methodology used too. When you look at those dissertations, that will tell you a lot about a person. The next thing is you can ask other students who has been supervised by that person. How do you think about them, for example? That could give you some idea. Did you do well in that person class? For example, how was your previous work relationship with that person? Is that person supportive? Make sure that person strongly support your dissertation topic. Because if your dissertation chairperson believe in you, and you can be guaranteed that you can make it to the doctorate finish line. Well, one thing that you maybe is your chairperson should be strong enough to protect you when things get tough. For example, you will never know, but also make sure that that person is critical enough to make your dissertation up to an acceptable standard for a doctoral dissertation. The chairperson should be able to well communicate with other people, with other committee members. Make sure they can harmoniously work together as a group, so you don't want things to get wrong. What if the chairperson is important, but the most important person is yourself, because you have to take full responsibility for your work? I wanted to make sure that you have to show respect to that person by the submitted work you give to them. Make sure they are thorough, they are well written, they are ready. Professors are busy. They don't want to spend time reading work that is not, well, properly done. They won't be happy. And they don't think they would respect you. You respect them. So make sure, your work is good. And then, I know, make sure you give them 2 to 6 weeks to read your work. I know they are busy. They got things to do, research, classroom, teaching. So be patient when, you have to wait a lot. Be cautious and diplomatic with them too. Respect them and work closely with your dissertation chair and committee member. If you work closely with them, thoroughly discuss things with them before your proposal defense, before your final defense. Discuss everything out with them. You'll be fine. Your dissertation proposal and final dissertation will go smoothly and successfully because everything has been discussed. And actually sometime when you have discussed everything with them already in your proposal defense or final defense, they still come up with new things. They still suggest new things. That's fine. That won't be substantial change because you have talked to them already. They won't tell you to substantially change your dissertation topic or whatever. That won't be the case. And you don't want one of your committee member or even your chair to turn their guns on you during your proposal or final defense. Because if you didn't discuss everything well with them, that could happen. So make sure that happens, and your chairperson should also give you timely and incisive feedback too, because that will help you a lot during your arduous dissertation process. Unfortunately, some of the students may have problem with their chairperson. For example, the chairperson just wouldn't listen to you. They don't care about what you're trying to do in your dissertation. What they always to tell you to do what they think you should do. Well, that's a serious problem. It means they don't really support what you're thinking. I don't know. If you form a good research topic, if they don't support you, then it's time for you to think about switching the chairperson. Find someone who supports strongly to conduct your dissertation study. The second thing is, some of you were telling me that the chairperson was not timely. They was not, they were very hard to get hold of. It's almost inaccessible. Well, actually, if that happened, if I were you, I would actually ask the person of the most appropriate form of communication that they would prefer. Talk to them. You can also talk to them directly. What do you expect from me? Tell them what they expect from you. Make sure you do what they expect from you, and tell them too what you expect from them. For example, telling them wow, I got a deadline, whatever. They will understand and they will try to help you out. Okay, now when you have a dissertation topic, when you have a good literature review, you form a doctoral committee already. Now, it is your time to think about an extremely well-written and detailed section called methodology. This is traditionally chapter 3 in your dissertation. Now, these questions may help you. For example, how is your going to be carried out? Why is it going to be conducted that way? You have to rely on other researchers to say why you're going to conduct that study that way. How are you going to ensure that your instruments are valid and reliable? How are you going to recruit your subject and participant for the study? What are your subject selection and exclusion criteria? How many subjects or participants are you going to need? Why? For example, if you conduct a quantitative study, for example, maybe certain authors have suggested a minimum. For example, what are the exact steps of data collection and analysis? These are very important because that will clearly instruct you what to do. The approaches and statistics you're going to utilize to analyze the data. Make sure they're in there in chapter 3 in the methodology. How are you going to present your data? Suppose when you have your data, how are you going to present it? Think about it. Are you going to use it, descriptive statistic? Are you going to use chart, graph, tables? How are you going to present your data? And what do you predict the result or the outcome of your study? What are they going to be? Well, actually, as soon as your proposal is approved, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel because the proposal is a kind of informal contract between you and your committee chair, between you and your committee. It means you have to strictly follow it. If anything happened during the process of collecting your data, make sure you communicate to your chairperson. Listen, he or she will tell you exactly what to do. Don't do anything you didn't talk in the proposal because that person is they're not gonna be happy about it. Okay, now how are you gonna work when you get the data? When you got qualitative data or quantitative data, how are you gonna analyze it? What part of the data you will present and which part you won't present? How are you going to organize the data? You have to have the reason for your organization, or they will ask you to change it. And if they ask you to change it, do it. But if you don't want to, tell them why. If you explain it makes sense, they won't force it. And you have to summarize what you found. Okay, when you get your data, how are you going to interpret it? Now, when you look back to your comprehensive and extensive literature review to find to compare and contrast between your finding and the finding of extant research, of existing research, if you find any discrepancies or similarities, try to explain it. Try to speculate on it. And based upon your findings, you provide implication for the study, for further studies. Wow, now we have just taken a tour of the dissertation process. Now it is time to talk about the most important factor is how the heart of the dissertation process is the writing. Because by the end of your doctoral life, what you see is about copy of your dissertation, right? It is written by you. Focus on good writing. Well, look at the dissertation handbook again to make sure you know the margin they require. Top, bottom, left, right. Make sure at the beginning when you start writing, set it. It saves you a lot of time later. A lot of time, believe me. Well, now, who is the audience? Do you think who is the audience of your dissertation? Who is the audience of your dissertation?
The committee.
Exactly. Well, actually, people say you should make your dissertation comprehensible to the widest audience possible. She gave you an exact answer. I guessed. That's the most logical one. Those people are the gatekeeper. You are writing to them. You are communicating your finding and the meaning of your finding to them. Make sure You know that. Well, one thing that you may find interesting is that, well, sometimes you may not think, but when you write, you may tend to write the way you are speaking. Make a distinction between speech and writing. In speech, you use more verb. In writing, you use more nominalization or nouns made from verbs. That's nominalization means nouns made from verbs. For example, instead of saying, I'm sorry for being late, you write, I apologize for my unavoidable tardiness, for example. That is more formal, more nouns. You can see tardiness. Okay, now it may be time. Now, when you start writing your dissertation, ask your dissertation chairperson to suggest a good dissertation model. That helps you a lot. Have a look at that. And sometime in your dissertation process, you are unable to write anything. You sit down there in front of your computer and not productive anymore. Hours and hours on end, nothing. You stuck. What are you going to do? When you stuck, what are you going to do?
Take a break.
Take a break, exactly. Get out of the room. Get some fresh air. Fresh air. Take a walk. Go to the beach. Talk to people. Getting chatty. Talk to your friends, your family members. Talk to your chair person. Talk to your committee member, your fellow doctoral student. They may give you useful suggestions. If you are working on your data, your interpretation, you can look back at the literature, look at the data, try to make sense of it. Don't sit in front of the computer trying to write when you have no idea. Think. Yes. Well, there are different approaches. People would say writing would help you to generate ideas. I would think that if you don't have idea, what you're writing is, I think it's all trash. You need to think. When you have idea, sit down, type. Well, technically, usually when you work, I think after 2 hours of writing, you need to take a break, quick break, do something different. Like go out, whatever you want, whatever. Do something different. Refresh your mind. But before you go, make sure you finish your thoughts. You finish a point you're trying to make. Finish it. Because after that, when you come back, sometimes you have a hard time trying to recall where you stopped. And sometimes it doesn't come. So it's going to be hard. Well, one thing I think is very important. Some people, when they write, they're trying to make grammar perfect. They're trying to make the idea clear. No. Because if you are running a computer, you're running so many programs, what is happening? If you are running 10, 20 programs at the same time, what is going to happen to your computer?
It's going to crash.
Crash! When you're writing, you're thinking about so many things. It's not going to be good writing. When you're writing, don't try to get it right. Get it written. What is on your mind? Write out. Don't worry. Why? You're going to have a lot of time to read, reread, polish, a time to read, and a time to write. So you don't have to worry about it. And then sometimes this is the point when you work so hard and so long on your dissertation, when you finish your dissertation, you are so excited. Okay, there you go. Send it to your chair. Oh, no. Never. Leave it there. Take a break. And then print it out. Read it. Make revision. Leave it alone. Read it again. Fix it again. Revise it. Polish it. Keep working. Because that is very important. You will never have the first product that is the best. You have to keep revising. Ask your friend, okay, sit down. Listen, I'm going to read my dissertation to you. Listen. You read aloud. Well, it's possible. Or you ask someone to read your dissertation, to read your final draft. Ask the person, one of your peer friends, someone who can read it, and they will give you feedback. Work on it. Keep working on it until you are sure that you yourself won't be able to make your dissertation any better on your own. I believe that's the time. Submit it. Now it's your break time. Submit it to your chairperson. Break time. Well, it requires determination, independence, and a strong sense of direction to successfully complete your dissertation. Stay focused. If you are on your dissertation process, stay focused. I'm going to tell you an analogy of a master who is teaching 3 students the art of archery. You know archery? Yes. So the teacher asked the student, okay, you trying to shoot that bird. The bird is on the tree. Okay, and the person was trying to aim. I said, the master asked, what do you see? Tell me. The person said, well, I see a big tree, a leaf, the branch, a lot of leaves, and the bird. Okay, shoot. He missed it. The second person said, what do you see? I see a bird, and the bird is on a branch. Shoot it. He missed it. And the last person said, tell me what you see. The person said, I see the bird. Shoot it. He got the bird. So my point here is, you're not going to work on your dissertation forever. Give it the priority it needs. Give it your top priority in a year or 2. Get done with your dissertation and move on with your life. Ask for the sympathy of your friends, your family, your husband and wife, your children. Ask them for a leave of absence. Ask them to give you some break. You're working on your dissertation. What else? Try to avoid all the distractions. Any distraction of any kind, try to avoid it. Facebooks, emails, leave it alone. Strictly. No, that's part, I know. I'm not trying to argue that all you see is your dissertation. I know you have your life, your work, your family. Yes. But your dissertation is going to end soon. Don't worry too much about Facebook and email. You have to check your email, but regulate. Strictly control the time you use it. Don't let them get you time out of your dissertation. Be sure. And then you need some sacrifice. Instead of time having fun, pleasure time, use that time for your dissertation. That is sacrifice. It's going to end soon. Yes?
What motivates you to make those sacrifices other than the obvious of having to stay here longer and the money you're going to have to pay? And rather than thinking about the consequences, what else motivates you to stay so focused?
Yes. What else? Think about the job market. It's getting tougher and tougher. If you and I, we are all in the same program. If I graduate earlier than you, what happened? I have a better chance of applying for the position that if we are going to graduate the same time, we're going to compete. I don't want to compete with you. You're a strong guy. If I can finish earlier than you are, get out with a PhD, with a doctorate, when you are still an ABD, they still prefer someone who have done it, right? That could be one of the motivation. Yes?
What does ABD stand for?
ABD stands for all but dissertation. It means you have finished all your coursework, finished your comprehensive exam, except for your dissertation. Yes? Yes?
The first step is to finding a topic.
Yes.
So I know you found your topics during your coursework.
Exactly.
What other ways we can find our topic? We have to stick on for 1 or 2 years, so it's very important to find it.
Did I tell you before I believe all of you would take a methodology, research design course. Did you take it?
No.
Not yet. Good. Good news. If you haven't taken it, that's great. Why? Because that course technically help you to formulate a good research study. If you don't have to choose one. You can have potential 4 or 5 dissertation topics. And when you enter that course, you have the list. You have general ideas of what you can do. Present them to the professor of that course. That professor is going to help you to narrow down your topic, help you to formulate researchable research question. Believe me, if you finish that course with the informally approved from that professor, he say, yes, that's a doable study. Bingo. Why? You can start working on your dissertation because that one can be your dissertation topic. And chances are you may invite that person, if that person is willing to help, if that person's expertise is in that area. That's going to help you a lot. Okay, so one more thing I want to say is, do not leave the university without a doctorate. You come here for a doctorate, stay here. Why do I say so? Because if you stay on campus, you will be more productive. You will experience less distraction on campus, and the environment will be more conducive to concentrated study and dissertation writing. That is my belief.
What is that 15 hours?
Okay, yes. Okay. I'll tell you later. Now let me finish one point and I will tell you now. Well, the dissertation, what are some worst enemies? Well, you are on your dissertation. Tell me, what are some worst enemies that really stand in the way, like blocking your way to finish your dissertation? Tell me.
Myself.
Yourself. Maybe.
Netflix.
You need sacrifice. You need to discipline yourself. Okay, some of the worst enemies of the dissertation process is procrastination. Don't procrastinate. Anxiety. Can I finish it? Is my dissertation topic worth it? Can I do it? Don't. Get rid of anxiety.
I should record you and talk about you.
And the third one is perfectionism. Okay, I want to make my dissertation perfect. There is no such thing.
I can do a perfect. No?
No such thing. I handed in the dissertation to the research office. I came back and read it. Oh, I found a mistake. I type it again. Print that page. Go see. Nick say, oh, can I see my dissertation again? I found a mistake. I say, okay, you go ahead. And I get a page, put it again. And then come back the next week. Oh, I found 2 more. Say, oh no, I fixed it again. I came back, see Nick, can I see it? Okay, it's there. So put it in there. And like, the next day I came back. Found a mistake again. Say, oh, this is a stupid grammar mistake. I fixed it. I came in again. And Nick Pay say, what's wrong with you? You got everything. You got the Nick signature. It's just a heap of paper. Get done with it. Go back, enjoy your time. Tomorrow I'm going to strip it. I say, yeah, you're right. Why do I have to do this? And then I stop working on it. But the point is, there is no perfect dissertation. Even the best dissertation is not perfect. Why don't you finish your doctorate and then make your future research more perfect? Right? Okay, now we go back to the point when...
That's okay.
Yes.
That's lady here.
Yes, Shamin just asked, how long? This is the length of typical dissertation. Well, 2 authors, Davis and Parker in 1997, say that a standard dissertation is 225 pages long, with a range of 100 to 450. So if you have a dissertation 100 pages, that's a low, which is okay. But if you have 450, which is the high one, and the amount of time the month for a standard dissertation is, 15 months, with an average of 175 hours a month. For the low one, someone who finishes it quickly, take like 11 months, and the one who take a lot more time, maybe 22 months.
So that's about 6 hours a day.
Oh, really? For 6 hours a day?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yes. 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 Well, my point is, a quality dissertation is not necessarily long in terms of time to completion and number of pages. Because a dissertation with more pages may not necessarily better than a dissertation with fewer pages. And a dissertation that takes longer time to complete may not be necessarily better than the dissertation that you can complete in a shorter period of time. Well, there is no, fixed and, fast and hard rule about it. But to me, I think the best dissertation, a good dissertation, is a dissertation that is completed. The good dissertation is the dissertation that is completed, because if your chairperson and your committee member do not see it as a quality piece of work, they couldn't approve it. They say you go back and improve it, right? So if it is approved, it is good, right? Okay, so that is all I need to say, and try to finish your dissertation. Okay, do you have any question or whatever? You can. Yes.
How long did it take you to finish yours, and how long was it?
Well, to be fair, formally it took me only less than 9 months. Less than 9 months. Formally, when I started the first dissertation series, until the end, when I finished my dissertation final defense, is less than 9 months. However, you cannot compare, because I told you already, I came to the university, to the doctoral program, with a burning topic in mind. It means every single course I read, I try to conduct studies. When we have to do a study, for example, to conduct a research study, I try to focus to a study that is closely related, but not exactly the same one, closely related. Why? Because those studies will help me in the literature review later, because I have surveyed the literature. That helped me a lot with my literature. And then I show you this, like, if I don't have time within 9 months to write this much for my literature review, it took me more than 2 years. During my coursework, I keep reading. Whenever I have time, free time, weekend, I read on my area of interest for my dissertation. I collect all the articles, books, dissertations, some dissertation I'm interested in, save in my computer, and later I print it down. I organize them by name. All the folders with names. I have everything here, but I didn't have time to read them all, but I know what is what. I know the general idea. I have the reference list. When I started my dissertation, I did it very quickly, because I got a topic already, and my chairperson quickly approved it because he knew about it already. We've been talking about it, so we did quickly, and then I'm always ahead of time. So I finished very quickly. So the longest time was for analyzing the data and then waiting for the chairperson and the committee member to read your work. It's going to take a lot of time. You got to be patient, but it's worth it. You don't have to worry. I mean, each person is different. You may need more time. Okay. What else you would like to ask? How many pages? How many?
500.
Oh yes, if you include everything, 500 pages. The core text means the core text, excluding the front material, the references, is like 400 pages. But if you include the front material, the references, the appendices, everything, 500 in total. Yes?
Did you always work alone, or did you ever work with a group of people, and what are your thoughts on that, even if you didn't do that?
Yes, I thank you. Thank you for that interesting question. I agree. I think this is the problem with the system. When during your high school year or your academic year, people encourage you to cooperate, to work in groups. That don't really happen when you conduct your dissertation. So when you started your dissertation, you're like, freaking, you're on your own. You don't have that kind of independence. I am a kind of person who do not, I like group work, but it's unlike thing, not on serious thing. When I conduct a study, the professor, okay, you can have work in pair or in group of 3 or 4. I say, can I work alone? I say, fine, because I can control my time, my timeline, my schedule, and I train myself to work independently. So if you have been working independently well, you have no problem with your dissertation because you are able to control yourself, organize, set up your timeline and deadline, So I think that is something that I think professors need, to give students more, like a kind of mock dissertation. If you conducted 3 or 4 studies already, chances are you can conduct a dissertation pretty successfully. Smaller study, but it helps you to sharpen your skill. For example, interviewing skills, running some statistics, and then see how you can interpret your statistic meaningfully. Those skills will help you down the road. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think I was thinking more along the line, not necessarily working on the same topic together, but just working around another person. Like both of you, I guess, meeting at a certain place every week to work on your work, like your dissertation work. Kind of like how you might
motivating each other.
That's what you were talking about, is a dissertation support group.
Yeah.
Yes. Like you guys are all on the same, like you are all working on your dissertation. You guys can, organize like coming to see each other like once in a month or like twice a month. Sit down, talk to each other about your dissertation. That will help you to feel less solitary, less lonely in your dissertation process. Because sometimes in your dissertation you feel like you're alone. If you're taking a class, you can talk to your friend, say, oh yeah, talk about the assignment. But in your dissertation you don't have anyone to talk to. So talk to your friend, your colleague, or people who are doing dissertation at the same time with you. Share your concern. And they actually sometimes can give you very good suggestions and, ideas. So that's a great idea. Make you feel less lonely. Have things to share. And you guys can help each other. Why? You guys can edit for each other. Right? Well, actually, when I was doing my dissertation, I didn't have any friends. They were all busy. So I actually have to work very hard on my role. But it's great if you have a friend who can read your dissertation. You can read each other dissertation. That is great. You only need someone to have a look at it. Yes?
So can you describe like a typical day, like full day, including everything that you would do, when you were really working on your dissertation, to kind of give us an idea of how you balanced things in your life?
Yes. As I told you, we develop an agenda, right? For example, today I'm working on my literature review. I'm going to work on my literature review for almost a month. What I'm going to do is, I have an idea in my mind, what I'm going to do. I write down the outline, okay? Today I'm working on this point. Sometimes this point is too big. I couldn't finish in a day. Well, actually, sometimes I work until 4 in the morning trying to finish that point. I couldn't. Just too much. What I do is, I took notes. I say, okay, I'm here tomorrow. I put these notes right on my desk, right at this place. This place, I'm stopping in here with a pen pointing to this place. Tomorrow, right, I wake up, I look at this, I say, okay, exactly, this is the place. I can start quickly. Organize your material, everything conducive to your work. Organize that. It is straight in your face. You couldn't forget it, And then you work on that place. You work on your literature review. Well, to me, you work in steps, whatever way that makes sense to you. But when you're working on something, be focused. Trying to focus that one. You're trying to make it better, and then when you finish it, move on to the next one. So do it step by step. You know what I mean?
I guess what I was thinking of more like, did you wake up, work on your dissertation until you had to go eat, then you ate, and then you came back and worked on your dissertation until you had to eat again, and then you went back and worked on it until you went to sleep?
Basically.
Like, I'm trying to get an idea of, like, what is
Your
your
day. Like, what was
A typical day in the doctoral life.
So I can try to figure out how to
You wake
kind of
up at 5
model.
o'clock in the morning, but I will not.
Oh, no, that's not necessary. You wake up any time that is good and conducive for you to study. That is, think about the most productive time of the day.
I'm a nice person, so
Save it for your dissertation. Wherever, whenever it works. The most productive. Sometimes you work, sometimes usually when I come back from lunch, from dinner, not really in the mood to work. I'm full, kind of lazy. I'm serious. Sometimes I have things in mind I want to put down, but this is the point. Usually, I try to work before I eat, work very hard. So sometimes I come to lunch or dinner very late because I try to finish my point, finish something. I'm like, okay, dinner is my reward for the day. I got to work, And when I finish, okay, ready to work, go talk to Brandon, talk to Chris Filler, hanging out because I've done what I have to do today. You know what I mean? So you need a reward for yourself, small reward. So like sometimes I work so hard and you type a lot and you're like, you won't be able to sleep. You won't be able to do anything. Okay, I watch movies. Sometimes you have to take a break for 3 days or sometimes a week because like sometimes you're under a lot of stress, so you need to take some time off. So I usually wake up like, sit down and then work on what I did last night, trying to start. But as soon as you get in the mood, you're starting, your ideas coming out, don't stop it. Go on. Like, go on and on. Whenever, like, you are tired, take a break, go have a drink, and then, take a walk. And then, usually, if you notice, I hang out a lot at lunch and dinner. That is my relaxation time away from my dissertation. When I come back, fully concentrate. You need a lot of dedication. When you want to highly concentrating, you sometime in the middle of the night, you're sleeping or trying to sleep, but you just couldn't sleep, and your mind keeps thinking about that. Oh yeah, I need to, put something more in that area. Go on, work on it. Like your computer is always ready for you to add things in, and don't worry about right or wrong. When it comes, just type it in. Get it written first. Get it right later. Okay, you got what I mean, right? Like not structure. I'm not like a machine that like 7 do like this, 8. No, that's not really like flexible. But the key thing, the most important thing is keep your objectives and your agenda in mind. If you see this date, I'm late. Oh, come on, no, I couldn't late. You have to extend it, but extend it to a reasonable time frame. For example, sometime I'm late, I couldn't finish it within the timeline I have set for myself. I have to extend it in a week, for example. I have to finish it. If you keep extending it, you're in trouble because you haven't been, doing a good job, or you haven't really thought carefully about your plan.
I know that in one dissertation group, I knew about people there gave each other like negative consequences if they didn't meet certain deadlines. Like I know one girl had to shave off her eyebrows if she didn't like finish.
I think it's a little extreme.
No. Don't brood over your unproductive time. Your body, your mind need a rest.
How about wine?
It's like anything. That's fine. I mean, if it needs a rest, give it the much needed rest it needs.
While you're doing it,
you couldn't force it too much. Believe me, the best dissertation is not written like, under pressure, I guess. You need time to polish it, right? What do you think?
Did you benefit from using like the writing center and stuff like that?
Oh, I didn't. It could be a good idea if you can find a good person who can help you out, but I didn't use it.
Are you willing to edit mine?
Fine. Fine, yes, I will, if you want to.
I do have a good site that I just recently found. It's pretty easy to find. It's called Grammarly.com, and you can go on it and you just cut and paste what you have, what you've written, and you and there's a button that you press and it'll look through all your stuff for grammar issues, as well as it'll look for your plagiarism too. And once it'll check the plagiarism, it actually suggests, it'll tell you where it found it, and it actually cites it for you to the same page format from the site that it found it. So it's a really good site. Yeah, no, it's not.
How much is it?
It's $20 a month, but if you buy it for the whole year, it's $8 a month.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's like $96 per year, and I wish I found it a lot earlier. Cause
Grammarly, right?
yeah.
Okay, anything else? What do you want to ask?
Is it one of those things?
Huh? That's it. Just one. Vivian? Okay. You want to ask anything else? These. Oh, Candice. You need this.
We have different pages.
Oh, this is just the references.
I need that.
You need that too? Oh, I'm sorry. I emailed it to you. This is the reference list.
Well, let me get both. You can email me both.
Okay. This is the reference list. That these books I have read, and if you look at the bold thing, I suggest which book is the best. Which book?
There's a dissertation handbook, you said?
Yes. All these devoted, like over almost 30 books.
So these are all the books?
All the book devoted
Is there
to.
a specific one that we should just look into?
Yes. This is the one. On page 2 of your reference list, the one I say, I personally think this one is the best, one of the best publication on the topic, because it covers a comprehensive range of topics.
Amazon it.
Oh, you don't have to. In the interlibrary link. You can.
Really?
I got all these books through interlibrary loans. Oh no, sorry, Link Plus. Link Plus.
Yeah.
You can get all. You don't have to get all. I've read it all, and I have communicated the main message to you. I think one of the best that I suggested you should have that book, because that's one of the most comprehensive. All the other thing is kind of more argumentative, and this one also cover basic statistics that you need to review the basic statistics. They give it to you, and the qualitative approaches if you are conducting a qualitative study. Okay. Would you like to ask anything else? Would you have to raise any concerns, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you very much for coming.
Dr.